All right, hello everybody. I always want to make sure the timer starts because it starts at 0 and then it cuts off the first second of the video. It's been doing that for the last two videos, so I don't know. Anyways, this video is about why I believe in Jesus. And I know and the reason I'm making the video is because there's a lot of people who don't, and there's a lot of people who said, how could he exist? That's stupid, or it's fairy tales or whatever. And I can understand that perspective. I, for one, have never had that perspective before. And let me tell you why. I'm going to tell you experience by experience what's led me up to my very strong constructed belief in him. Still sometimes not strong enough. But when I was a kid, this was my first time this ever happened. When I was a kid, I built a little tent in the corner of the room. And I went under it because I wanted to just get away from everybody, okay? It was in the corner of the apartment behind the couch, and it was just my little getaway. It was like a space station or an underwater retreat or something. Like a sub base. You know, it was in my head. That's what it was. And that was the first time I ever prayed. And I prayed to Jesus for... Well, a lot of my friends had moved away, and I was very sad about that. So I prayed to Jesus to bring one of my friends back so that I could see them. And that was my prayer. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? I don't know. But that's what I prayed for. And I was a little kid. And literally, I think the next week, went by fast, I knocked on my friend Marcus's door, because I knew that he was moving away soon too. And he wasn't in there. He had already moved. And I said, oh, and another family answered the door. And I said, oh, okay. And then as I was walking away, they said, wait, Shane? Are you Shane? And I said, yeah. And I started to recognize them. And I realized it was one of my friends that used to live there a long time ago. And so, to me, like, Marcus moves out of that apartment. And then in that exact apartment, one of my old friends moves in. Like a week after I prayed to see one of my old friends again. And it was one of my oldest friends. Like, that was my first time of like, wow, like that's crazy. You know what I mean? That's a really crazy coincidence, especially for like a kid to go through. So I was like, all right, I guess this works. He must be real, you know. There was another time where I was walking. Well, actually, let me say this first. I was dating a girl, and I started to get feelings for another girl, okay? Bad, toxic stuff going on. This was in high school. It's typical high school stuff, okay? Don't judge somebody for what they did in high school, please. Don't do that. Anyways, I was, it just seemed like every single time I was trying to see this other chick, the schedule would change. Because we were going through testing in school. And it would always change to where I couldn't see her and I would be stuck with the girl I was already with. To me, it seemed like divine intervention in a way. And this might seem out of order to you. But to me, this helped construct my belief in God or Jesus. Because I felt like she was so wonderful that this was a gift from God. You know, her name was Narita. But anyways, it just felt like a hand was reaching in and telling me not to do it. You know, it felt like every single time the schedule would change, it was keeping me from doing that. It was so well constructed, exactly in the right places to keep me from seeing this other person. So that helped me construct my belief that, you know, there's some type of intervention going on here. This is bigger than just a school schedule. It was just too precise. It was way too constructed in the exact places. You know, like, it was, a lot of it was a secret, so nobody knew up top what was going on to send that schedule down. It was just, it helped me believe that there was some type of divine intervention happening to keep me from doing this. Fast forward to, I did it anyway. And then along the line, I had no girlfriend, and that's always what happens, by the way, so don't do it. I walked all the way to her house because I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I walked all the way to her house. And I got there and she was like at the pool and loud music was playing. And I've never felt so intimidated in my entire life. I sat by the pool and I couldn't do anything without freaking her out. So I said, all right, I can't freak her out. Like, that's not going to help my case. So I just left. And it was a long walk back home and I was so dehydrated. And then when I got into this store, this music started playing, and it was Umbrella by Rihanna. And the cold breeze hit me, and I got a water, and I had just enough money for a water, I think. And the lyrics in that song, I'll always be a friend. I made an oath, I'll stick it out to the end. You can always come under my umbrella. And that was playing, as this was happening, it helped even more construct that, and that might seem like a coincidence to you, but it could have been any song, and that's an old song. That's from, I don't know, early 2000s. And so, there's a million new songs they could have been playing, and they were playing that one. A song that I had a connection with was when I was a kid. It was just too precise again, and it helped me further my belief. The reason I'm telling you these is so I can help you understand why I believe. Not trying to get you to understand, not trying to get you to believe, but just try to understand why I believe. Then, fast forward to another experience with the same girl. Well, I have to tell you this one thing. We were on the bus one time, me and this girl. And she wasn't talking to me, and I was too scared to talk to her because she was in the bus seat 2 seats ahead. And I knew the bus drivers and the bus attendant didn't really want us talking. I could tell because they sat us far apart from each other because they didn't want any trouble. You know what I mean? They didn't want anyone going to tell their parents that something happened or whatever. So they were very cautious about that. And they were sweethearts. Most bus people are. But then it became like, I don't know, this song started playing that said, I love you. And I hope you feel the same way too. Pretty popular song. You probably know that. I hope you feel the same way too. Like, that started playing in the bus. And it was like exactly how I felt to her. And I know she could hear it too. And it was like she was pretending to be asleep. And it was like, I don't know. It just helped construct that that's not a coincidence. It was exactly how I felt. Oh my God, it could have been any song. It was on a school bus. It could have been any song. They jammed the radio on. It could be an R&B song, a rap song. It was that song. One of the sweetest songs you'll hear on a radio station like that. So that helped me again. And then the umbrella thing happened with Rihanna, and that's when that happened. Then I go to see the same girl, so now 3 experiences with her. And I do some stuff with her, and her father is super angry at me, and I could get in a lot of trouble because she snuck out of the house with me, and he was going to call the cops, okay? And the cops were coming, okay? And he was following me, and it was not good. I thought, wow, this is bad. This is really bad. And he took her to the hospital to see if I did anything, which I really didn't do what they were looking to see that I did. It wasn't that extreme, but we did do some stuff. So I was really scared. And I remember I just kept saying, Lord and our Savior, Jesus Christ. I just kept saying that, just to see. I was trying to prove to myself even more, like, is this real? And by the way, this is one of my biggest dreams came true, was with this girl. I was like, I always wanted this to happen. I always wanted to see her again. And it felt so fake. It didn't feel real at all. But then, as I was walking, I don't know, everything just turned around. All of a sudden, he was the one in trouble. The police told him to stop following me. Then this guy, he saw I didn't have shoes on because my shoes were in my backpack. Because I wanted to look as least threatening as possible. And I know that might not make sense, but it made sense at the time. And this guy started trying to give me shoes. And then the police just had me sit in the back for like 2 hours. And I like fell asleep. And then I woke up and he just dropped me off. Like I don't know, like nothing, I don't know. It felt like everything turned around completely. It was so crazy. I went from being an extreme trouble to like someone's trying to give me shoes and then the dad's in trouble and then I'm just sitting in the back of the car and they release me. It had helped construct my belief even more. Okay. Um, then fast forward to I'm in a relationship with this other person, and this was the one that really solidified it for me. Was I would pray and pray and pray, and my prayers would come true over and over again. I hope we talk today, and then we would talk, and this would be days after us not talking, and my prayers became answered again and again in this relationship with this person. It was a very toxic relationship. Every time I prayed, it would come true. Every single time. So that helped it a lot. That really helped construct my hope and my belief. It was such a magical relationship, even though it was toxic. The feeling of it was, my brain took me to very special places in such a short time. This all happened in 1 year, by the way. All this happened in like 1 year. Or I think kind of 2 years, but the beginning was the first year, then this is all the second year. So then one time it was so bad that I was actually crying, and she wasn't responding to me, and I thought she was talking to somebody else, and I just felt so horrible. I was like, what did I do to deserve this? And I started thinking about all the things I did to the first girlfriend, and then the second girl, and then I realized that if I hadn't done that to the first time, I wouldn't be in this relationship, and I just thought about every single little thing back then that led to all these other things, and I was like, man, like, I did this. This is all my fault. Like, I can't believe I did all of this. And I started getting so sad that I made such a little decision and it just forced all this other stuff upon myself. And I started crying, man. And I just thought about Jesus and I thought, man, maybe even he wouldn't understand me. Like, maybe that's how corrupted I made this whole thing. And I felt this incredible sense that of understanding that he did it was that exact feeling that I was kind of begging for. He did understand. And I pictured him coming up behind me and hugging me. And then I felt like I was wrapped in some type of love. I really did. And I cried more. And I kind of put it off because I was so wrapped up in the moment of this sucks. I was unable to kind of get the full experience of love that I was receiving. And then I came home, finally got home, and I looked at the floor, and I don't know how this got in my room, because we don't get National Geographics to our house anymore. And there was no National Geographics that looked like this. And it was not in my room when I left. Everyone in the house was asleep. And when I went into my room, it was there on the floor. It just appeared there out of nowhere. I swear, I don't know how it got there. And that's this. I came home from this experience that I thought was with Jesus, and I said, maybe it's not real. And then as soon as I open the door, I find this, okay? It says the real Jesus. Now, the reason I kept this for so long is because it was on the floor when I came into my room after I had that experience. And it was him trying to tell me, in my mind, it was him trying to tell me that was him, you know? And I have no idea how it got there. We did not get this to the house. Nobody in my house had this. Everyone was asleep. Nothing was in my room. I come back. Everyone's still asleep. It's in my room. I don't know. So it's not one coincidence that made me believe in Jesus. It's all those things that added up. And there was another time where I was walking. This was after. But I was walking to this girl's house, and I was kind of scared, you know, because it was a long walk. And when it's hot and you're taking a long walk, you get really intimidated because her parents were home, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And then a Jeep pulled up, and it was the song "I Got Your Back, Boy." I got your back, boy. You know that song? Not trying to reenact it perfectly. I hope I don't get copyright struck or whatever. But anyways, yeah. Like my hair. It could use a little work. But, so that helped it solidify it more. Like, a lot of the times, music really helps. It really is exactly what I'm thinking. And to me, that's God. That's Jesus. I mean, so many moments, you know? So many moments. And so that's why I believe in him. And also, when you research it and you type in near-death experiences into YouTube, they all say the same thing. And it's not that they know each other. It's not that they're getting paid to say it. These are people who've had near-death experiences. Some of them were atheists. Most of them didn't believe in Jesus. And they all ended up believing in him. And there's so many of those. And they're all so touching. And they're all different and unique in their own ways. And it's like, how could you watch all those and then not believe that that's real? Like, I don't understand it. I respect it. I understand it. I do understand it because I was in that place one time. But after all these experiences, and then you look it up and you see all these things, it's like they all say that. They all say the feeling of love, and they all talk about heaven and how beautiful heaven is. Like, and these are people who didn't read the Bible, people who didn't believe in heaven, people who didn't believe in Jesus. And they all have similar experiences, all unique in their own ways. You can tell they don't know each other. You can tell they didn't make it up. You can just tell sometimes. I can read people. I'm good at it. I mean, I can always tell when someone's lying to me. And these people are being sincere. And sometimes the brain was completely shut off. Sometimes it wasn't. Either way, they all say they saw their bodies floating. They saw their bodies and they were floating. And they had this experience, or they had a horrible experience with hell or whatever. That's why I believe in hell. How can you watch those and listen to those and think that there's nothing after this? Are you crazy? It makes me angry. It actually heats me up inside. It actually makes me upset, you know? Just please look into it. Please. Just watch some of those videos. There's something going on here, okay? And some things can't just be explained away. Sometimes you have to let go a little bit and say, all right, maybe this is real, you know? I mean, there's no explanation for that. There's never going to be an explanation for that besides the fact that it's real. It's fucking real. This is not all there is. You're not you. This is you. You are a spirit inside of a body that's given eyes to see, ears to hear, and a brain to think and have more emotions besides love. Because love is the only thing that's actually real. So our brain gives us anger. Our brain gives us all these things. When you leave here, this is not it. There's more after this. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. There's way too many experiences of people seeing their bodies when they're floating above their own bodies. How could you not? There's so many people. And they're all confused. They're like, why am I looking at myself? And everything they say they hear and see is actually happening in the hospital. Because when they come back, they confirm it with their family. Yeah, we really were crying in the other room. We really were praying in the other room. So many experiences. How could anyone watch all of these and not believe it? I just wish I could make you believe it. But like I said, I respect if you don't. But man, I don't understand how you could watch all of these and then, I don't know, I don't understand. I'm going to put a playlist down below of videos that I'm talking about. And I want you to watch it. Please. If I can do that. If I can't do it, you won't see it. But there's going to be a playlist somewhere on my channel where that is the case. So look down below in the description for it. Watch those videos. Please watch those videos. Please. Please. I really want you to just see, you know. I'll make you see. Anyways, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll be back in a flash.